Alright, what's going on, guys? You know, it is 3 a.m. in the morning right now. I am legit turning into an insomniac. Finals week, uploading YouTube videos, and getting ready to go on a pretty long trip in a couple days is really taking its toll on me, dude. So, you know, it's 3 a.m. right now. I'm not even remotely tired, so I figured a great way to pass the time would be to upload a good old-fashioned YouTube video. And, well, luckily, I was handed a topic tonight, and that, of course, is because I watched the Game Awards. Now, if you watched the Game Awards, or I should probably say made the mistake of watching the Game Awards because it was extremely cringy, you would have seen the announcement for the new Xbox console called the Xbox Series X, which I'm not really a big fan of that name personally, but we'll get into that in a little bit. You know, I've got to leave the edgier stuff till later in the video so YouTube does not demonetize this. But anyway, Microsoft announced their new console today. We got some new information about it. Now, if you follow certain gaming news channels on YouTube, I'm not going to name names because, you know, I don't want to get hit with the harassment policy, dude. No, I'm just kidding. It was 100% Dreamcast guy who basically said the Xbox was not even done. Microsoft was nowhere near ready to show it off, and literally no developers had dev kits yet. Well, that turned out to be completely false.
Nobody right now seemingly has an Xbox Scarlet, and due to some of these statements that have been revealed, it seems like it is very, very far from done.
Imagine that, but believe it or not, guys, we actually got to see the final version of the console, and personally, I don't think it looks too bad. Like, it looks like a miniature PC in my opinion. I really like how it's vertical because it's going to take up less space on my desk, but you know, people are memeing the absolute fuck out of it, and well, I personally don't blame them because the memes are top tier, okay? People are comparing it to a mini fridge, a full-size refrigerator, a certain set of towers that got hit by airplanes. Okay, yeah, I probably shouldn't say that shit on YouTube. Fuck me. But anyway, yeah, it's a very memeable design. You know, people are kind of making fun of it at the same time, but overall, I think it's a pretty good design in all honesty. Like, it's really sleek. It doesn't really stand out. When you look at it, you're not going to go, oh, that's a console. Like, if somebody had this sitting by their TV in, like, their house or something, you would probably walk by it and not even notice it, which personally, I like. Personally, I don't really like flashy consoles. I like everything to look like it goes together. So, for me, I really like the look of this console. Like, I think they did a pretty good job with it, and I think the cooling also has something to do with it too, because the top has a vent, and I think on the back as well there's going to be vents too, so it probably allows it to cool more effectively, which is good because we don't want another red ring of death in all honesty. But aside from that, we got some basic specs. Now, I found this tweet on Twitter basically highlighting the specs that were revealed to GameSpot and basically an exclusive look at the console. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I have any idea what I'm talking about when it comes to technical specifications, because I absolutely do not. But before we get into that, I do want to touch on this name real quick, because at this point we are far enough into the video where YouTube will not demonetize it most likely for what I say at this point. You know, that's the beauty of YouTube 2019. But anyway, the first thing I thought of when I heard Xbox Series X is the Xbox sex, okay? And I'm pretty sure that's on purpose. Like, you honestly cannot tell me that at a $1 trillion company no one thought of this, but I do think it's on purpose, because in case you guys don't know, I am a business major in college right now, and I took a marketing class, and in this class we talked about something that I kind of find interesting that kind of applies here. But the human brain is naturally attracted to the word sex, okay? It makes us more attracted to something if our brain can pick out that word from like a grouping of letters. And well, Xbox Series X is 100% going for that, and I'm almost 100% sure that Microsoft is on some 3000 IQ marketing here and is basically trying to get this console to appeal to us on a subliminal level, which, I mean, if they're actually trying to do that, you know, round of a fucking applause, man. Like, that's some serious big brain shit, and I'm not even fucking joking there. Like, I actually do think that's what they're going for, but you know, who knows? I could be wrong. I could be giving them a little bit too much credit, but in all honesty, a $1 trillion company with access to all the market research in the world, they probably had this passed across their desk at some point. But anyway, that's my conspiracy theory about the name, so let's go ahead and get into these specs real quick. So the Xbox One X, oh shit, it's the fucking Series X, dude. I'm gonna mess this up a bunch. The Xbox Series X is gonna come in two variants, okay? There's gonna be one less powerful version with a 4 teraflop GPU, as well as a more powerful version with a 12 teraflop GPU. Now, I don't know what a teraflop does. I did look it up in my GPU, which is a 1080 Ti, has around 12 teraflops, so, you know, it's a pretty powerful console, it seems like, all things considered. I'm not really sure how exactly teraflops tie into game performance, but for the most part, it does seem like it's going to be a genuinely powerful console, all things considered. Now, as far as naming goes, you know, the less powerful console is called the Lockhart, and the more powerful console is called the Anaconda, which, you know, that's another dick joke, dude. 100%, you know, the Sexbox One, the Xbox Sex, it's all coming together at this point. There's some horny motherfuckers over at Microsoft. But moving on to the CPU CPU. The CPU is 4 times faster than the speed of the Xbox One X, which I have no idea what that means. You know, it's purposely vague if you ask me, because that 4 times speed could be referring to any measure of the CPU itself. So we really don't know what that means until we have the actual specs written down where we can compare it to an existing CPU on the market. But moving on, designed to be as quiet or quieter than the Xbox One X. Now I will say the Xbox One X is pretty quiet. The only time I ever really noticed it getting loud was when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on it, and it did start to sound like a jet taking off. Now it was nowhere near as bad as the PS4 Pro when I was playing God of War on it, and it sounded like a fucking NASA rocket about to take off on the first mission to Mars. I will say the Xboxes are pretty quiet, but the fact that it may be quieter is even better, and I have a feeling the design has to do with that, so the heat can rise up and go through the vent on top. You know, I would much rather the console not basically melt itself like the Xbox 360 did, so, you know, that's a positive thing in my opinion. Dedicated share button on the controller, you know, that's great for all you screenshot junkies out there. Can pause and resume multiple games simultaneously. Now, this is something I personally like because, you know, I have ADHD or something. Like, I have to multitask. I hate doing one thing and one thing only, so typically when I'm playing a game, I will have CSGO running in the background as well. So if I get bored of the game I am currently playing, I can switch over to CSGO, maybe surf, play a quick game of deathmatch, quit CSGO, go back to the game I was previously playing, and that way I can kind of mix it up a little bit. And of course, at the same time, I have Discord over on my left monitor, as well as basically Hulu or Netflix on my right. So I'm always doing multiple things while I'm playing video games. So this is something that I would actually be interested in. Like, imagine you're sitting in a ranked playlist, you're waiting for matchmaking to go through, and you can just swap over to Minecraft or something and play for like a couple minutes while you're waiting to find people to play with. So I think that's actually a really cool feature if it works like I'm thinking it does. And then of course, the last thing here is the backwards compatibility, dude, which is really awesome in my opinion. Now, it's important to note that it says fully backwards compatible. So I'm guessing that means on day one, all the Xbox One games will instantly work with the new console. And that means when you go out and buy the new Xbox, you won't have to start over from zero when it comes to your game library, like I did with a PS4 this generation. Okay, that absolutely sucked. There was like 4 games out on the PS4 when it released. You had Knack, Killzone, Call of Duty Ghost, which was absolutely awful in terms of multiplayer when it launched, and then Battlefield 4, which was broken for like probably 6 months on PS4. Like, the rubber banding made that game completely unplayable. So, you know, I'm kind of glad I don't have to go into another dry launch. Well, anyway, I'm going to be playing on PC anyway, so it's not really going to matter either way. But, you know, for the other people out there, I can't just think about myself. It's nice that you will be able to take your existing game library over to the new generation with you, so you can just pick up the games you actually want to play and not have to experience the Sahara Desert of gaming known as the first couple years of a new console launch. So, you know, that's great news in my opinion. I think it's great that Microsoft is embracing backwards compatibility. We really haven't heard Sony talk about it much with the PS5, so it could be something that Microsoft is the only one doing this generation as well. We don't really know at this point. But there was one last piece of information we got surrounding this new Xbox, and that was an in-engine demo of the new Hellblade game running natively on the Xbox Series X. But it is important to note that an in-engine demo is not actual gameplay. It's basically like a pre-rendered cutscene just running on the native hardware using that game's engine. So the game itself is probably not going to look this good, but it's still pretty impressive. The visuals that they're pulling off on the new consoles, which I think is really awesome, because that means like even PC gaming for one is going to get better games overall, because now they don't have to develop games for hardware that when it released, what, 6 years ago, was already 2 to 3 years out of date. So that's beneficial for everyone in the gaming industry, because we get better games even if we want to play on PC. But at the same time, I do think it's worth taking a look at if you are interested, but I'm not going to do it here. Like, I'll play it at the very end of this video because, you know, it'll get me to 10 minutes. And on top of that, if you aren't interested, you can just go ahead and click off right now, because with that said, guys, that does it for this video today. You know, if you did enjoy it, if you enjoyed my 3 a.m. recording, which now it's like 4 a.m., but anyway, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to sleep at some point. You know, I don't know if I'm going to actually edit this video or not tonight, but anyway, guys, enough of that. If you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button. I would definitely appreciate it. And as always, I just want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to check out the video and for all the recent support as well. And I will catch you guys next time.
Cowboy. must fall to save us, we fight him